Hello my dear friends and welcome to my channel. Don't forget to make yourself a cup of tea with snacks if you want, because today we have very interesting stories, and one of them is a story about a woman who sold her house and then after a while, demanded to have it back for lower price. Please subscribe if you haven't and I hope you'll enjoy it. Backstory. I'm a junior in high school that referees club soccer at a high level. A lot of youth soccer referees quit early on because of parental abuse. There's a lot you can read on it actually. I've known kids who quit because it's not fun for them anymore. I never really had much of a problem until the one game. An occasional shout here or there, but I had worked hard and accurately to get to the tier I was allowed to referee this game in. I was the man in the center, with a whistle, stopwatch, and cards. My two assistants were much older than me, at least 30 years more each, and we got along pretty well during the game. However, it didn't take long for things to go downhill. The game was U14 boys, between two rival clubs. Being a former high-level club player, I knew these clubs well. One club had an especially notorious reputation for the region's worst soccer moms. This club were the favorites to win. 4 minutes in, they go down 1-0. Then another goal. Then another. By now it's 8 minutes gone, and the score is 3-0, and the teammates are getting angry with each other. I haven't made a call yet. Then, as one of the midfielders goes to set up the ball for kickoff, he says not so quietly. "What the F, guys? F. The first rule of being a referee is respect. Respect the players, the parents, and the game, and expect the same from others on the field. This is called the zero tolerance rule, which includes abusive language. This kid just violated it twice. I wheeled around and gave him a red card on the spot, which for non-soccer fans means an ejection from the rest of this game and the next one. Suddenly, an uproar from the sideline. The coach of the team jogs onto the field and in a very polite manner asks, "What is that for?" I told him that his player had used the F word twice and that I will not tolerate it. The coach said he understood and will be addressing his player after the game. I'm returning to the center to finally kick off again when I hear the jeers. "You screw. What the hell was that for? Come on, ref." Mostly nothing. This quieted down eventually, but at the end of the first half, it was 0-5 to the underdogs. Suddenly, as I'm setting up kickoff for the second half, a mom walks over with her player, the ejected one, screaming. Typical upper middle class soccer mom. High heels, sunglasses, chewing gum, short hair that's been bleached. "What the hell is wrong with you?" She points her finger at me as she talks, looking like an angered flamingo. In the other hand, she clutches her little superstar, bawling his eyes out. When a player gets ejected, he or she needs to stay off the field until the end. Usually this means they have to wait in the parking lot and are not allowed to watch the rest of the game. Not this mom. My baby didn't do anything wrong. You should be ashamed. I will have you fired. What's your ID number? I was honestly speechless. I usually don't have a problem holding respectful conversations with adults, but this was surprisingly intimidating. "Ma'am, your son used foul and abusive language on my field. I cannot and will not tolerate it. Furthermore, he needs to stay in the parking lot until the conclusion of the game. Thank you." The big tough kid, EC, who had been reduced to a blubbering sack of crying entitlement, wails, "Mommy, I want to play." This gets the mom, EM, outraged. "You can't tell him to do that. He's my son. Ma'am, my field, my rules. Please go back to the supporters section. No. I want to play." He's getting very loud now. "Are you telling me how to parent? You aren't even a parent yet. How does that work? I have the rule book in my bag. I can go read you the specific wording of the law if you'd like. The rules of soccer are divided into laws." "No. I want your field supervisor. This isn't your field, it belongs to the town of redacted, idiot. Yay. Lem play." "Excuse me. Ma'am, that's a final warning. My boss is in his office, 50 miles away, working hard. One more outburst and you are going to need to leave." "Oh yeah? Prove it. Your referees are all the same, just trying to ruin the lives of sweet little children looking to have fun." At this point, the coach of the boys' team is coming over to see what is going on. The other refs are trying to calm down the other parents all the while. I have done everything in my power to not start screaming. I am just calling this game to the best of my ability. Your ability screws. I want you fired. Learn to open your eyes. That's funny, I have 2016's vision. You have 20 seconds to put my son back in the game before I call your supervisor. Now. Okay, thank you. You're gone. I gesture to the parking lot. Are you asking me to leave right now? The audacity. I have never. Nope. I'm telling you to leave. Now. The coach has come over from the bench now. He tries to convince the woman to leave. She tries to barter with him unsuccessfully. Coach, put me in. I'm not going anywhere. Last chance, ma'am. No. I blow the whistle loudly 3 times, waving my arms in an X, and say game abandoned. The game has been nullified, and the other team has been given a 5-0 win via forfeit. The other parents are still mad at me, but they see this woman throwing a temper tantrum and make their way to their cars. The coach led the woman and her son to their car. A week later, my boss calls me. He asked me to explain what happened. I tell him I sighed, telling me he had just received the mother's side of how I was a fan of the other team and, get this, tried to physically hurt her son. The other refs and the coach of the team the boy got ejected from all sent my boss letters in my defense within the next few days, and the case was filed in my favor. The woman was banned from attending any games for the rest of the season, and the kid still had to serve his ban. I still love this game and love my job, as teaching kids to play is a great joy for me. However, this experience still lingers with me, showing the harsh realities of being a ref. Spoiler alert. We're human too. Oh crap, she's got the "I want to speak to your manager" look going on. That explains a lot really. You did well with that, kid. Rules are rules. First, let me describe the kind of aunt that we have. This aunt, or entitled aunt I should say, of ours, has been the source of headache for us as a family emotionally and monetarily. She would always ask my mom and dad for a loan that would take years for her to pay. Where those loans go is one of our biggest questions to date. And whenever my mom or my eldest sister would ask her for the payment, she would always play the "I'm family" card and be all emotional and crap to play on my mom's emotions. My mom has a soft spot with her family and she would most likely let it slide. But not my eldest sister. She would constantly remind and warn my aunt to pay her debts or she'll do something about it. My aunt would then turn to my mom asking for protection from my sister, to which my mom would talk to my sister about it. My sister though is not having it and is just relentless on her pursuit of making my aunt pay her debts. This got to a point where my aunt warned to sue my sister if she doesn't stop, to which my sister openly invited. My sister works on a law firm so she knows the law and that our aunt has no case at all. Ultimately, our aunt paid, but not without any parting words of how our family are a bunch of rude people and that she would never ever talk to us again. And such. But after a month or so, she made up with my mom and everything was well except for my eldest sister. So for context with the title, my aunt put her house up for sale due to her children moving out. She had 2 daughters who are all married now. Initially, she said that the house was getting too big for me to keep or maintain and that she'd plan on buying a nice condominium near the downtown area. Her house is a 30 to 45-minute drive from downtown. My uncle didn't want her to sell it to someone they do not know or at least does not have an affinity to, so she suggested to sell the house to a relative or a super close friend. My aunt then talked to my youngest sister. I have 3 sisters and I'm the only guy, and pitched her the idea of buying the house from her. At first, my sister didn't really want to entertain the idea of buying a house at this point in time, as they have 2 kids that they are sending to a not-so-cheap school. But my aunt then pulled the sentimental value card and that it would be a shame if the house was sold to someone else. Admittedly though, the house did have sentimental value for us siblings and cousins. We used to spend our summers over there as it's in a pretty nice neighborhood and we have friends there as well. The basketball court is fronting the house, which is a win-win situation since they both have boys and her husband is a good basketball player. My aunt saw this as an opportunity for the boys and her husband to train or whatever. To my aunt's credit, she did have a nice pitch to my sister, so I got to give her that. My sister and her husband discussed this in length. It literally took about a month before they had their decision. My sister and her husband decided to buy the house as they have long planned to have a house of their own. But her husband's grandmother begged them to stay at the current house they're living in until his grandmother can return back as she was sorting something out from a different city. So they decided to have at least until they are ready to move. My eldest sister, who by the way was against all of this, helped with all the contract and legal stuff so they can cover all their bases. The details of the sale aren't really familiar to me, but if my memory serves me right, the house and lot were sold for more or less 1 million pesos. My sister gave my aunt a more than generous amount of time to move out, 6 months. When the time came that everything was moved out, my sister and her husband decided to pay a visit to their recently bought house and see to what extent the renovation would be. And to their surprise, the condition of the house was a literal crap hole. The walls and ceiling were falling apart, the tiles on the floor were chipped or starting to get chipped, the main bedroom was a mess, and the kitchen smelled like someone died in there for weeks. Although my aunt did disclose that some renovation work would be needed, but she never disclosed that the house was that screwed up. But whatever. They decided to have the house renovated, and it cost them another 300k. Once the renovation was done, the difference was night and day. As they were not moving into the new house yet, they listed the house for lease on some places, and it garnered a lot of interest. The house was then leased to a foreign couple. The transaction went smoothly with the help of my eldest sister once again. And the couple even paid full price for the whole duration of the lease. Everything was as smooth as butter until yesterday. My sister got a call from the couple who leased the house early in the morning when she was dropping off the kids to school. This was on a Monday, and my sister is usually super busy on these days. And this was one of those days. She answered the call and the following ensued. Side note. This is all based from my sister's retelling of the events and conversations. It might not be 100% accurate, but I'll try to be as close to it as possible. S. My sister, NH. Nice husband, NW. Nice wife, EA. Entitled aunt. Hello NH. Haven't heard from you for a long time. May I know why you called? There's someone at the gate claiming that this is her house. Huh? She just might be a crazy person roaming around the area. Well no, she showed me pictures of the house and her in it. At this point, my sister kind of knew what was happening, so she hurriedly drove there. She was coming from the different side of town, so it took her about an hour to get there. When she got there, she saw EA outside screaming to let her in. The neighbors were already out and witnessing the commotion. EA sees my sister and hurriedly goes to her. Hey, S. They won't let me in, points towards the nice couple. EA, what are you doing here? Well, this was once my house. Am I not allowed to enter? What do you mean? I sold you this house, remember? And now I see that someone else is living here. Well, they are leasing the house. What? Why would you lease the house to someone I don't know? Because this is my house. I can lease it to whoever I want. At this point, my sister couldn't believe the stupidity of the situation and was kind of getting embarrassed with the neighbors looking on. So she told EA to go inside so they can discuss it. Once they were in the house, my sister introduced EA to the couple who leased the property, and the following ensued. How much did you lease the house for? Excuse me? I said, how much did you pay for the lease? I'm sorry, but we don't see the need of discussing that to you. Why not? Turns to my sister and asks, how much are they paying for the lease? It's none of your business. This is my property and I'm already generous enough to have let you in. What? I sold you this beautiful house and you treat me this way. Looks at the couple again. Was the house sold to you too, tell me? Look lady, even if we did buy it, we don't need to tell you the specifics since we're not dealing with you. And no, we didn't buy this house. You're a liar. Faces my sister, I'll take the house back now. Excuse me? Are you out of your mind? No, I'm not. And it's clear to me that you're an irresponsible homeowner. Take something from her bag. Here, take this 300,000 pesos and give me back my house. 300,000 pesos, seriously? Slams the money to EA's chest. My sister is fuming at this point. You need to leave my property right now. I won't allow you to disrespect me in front of this nice people. 300,000 when we bought this house from you for 1 million, you can't kick me out of here. This is my house. I'm calling the cops now. EA then bolts out of there. On her way out, she screamed, I'll come back and take the house. This is not the end of this. After EA was nowhere to be seen, my sister broke down in front of the nice couple. The couple asked her a few details about EA, and they were super understanding. My sister offered to return about 1/4 of the total money they paid for the lease, but the couple said that it's not necessary. Her husband knew what happened and he was furious to a point that he almost went to the condominium where EA was living in, but my sister was able to calm her down before anything bad happened. As of now, my sister and her husband are seeking legal advice from my eldest sister and her firm. I'll post any updates if there are any. The aunt has absolutely no legal standing in the situation to do a damn thing. The house is your sister's free and clear. She can do what she wants with it, and I'm sure that your other sister will tell her the same. So last weekend is when I ran into the most annoying parent ever, yay. So I am a 13 years old and have a cat 2 years old. He's pretty thin, mostly because he pukes a lot, important for later. He is a twin cat with another cat we have. He loves outside and constantly meows to go outside. I love him and his twin sister. So on to the story. I was playing on a YAU when I hear him meowing, so I come up, put my shoes on, and put on his leash. I take him outside. And he starts rolling around on the patio. Out of the corner of my eye I see a car stop in front of my house. It was M's car. She starts running towards me. No, I'll take her, you monster. What? I'll take him, my kid would love him. I'm not giving him to anyone. But you're releasing her now, I'm taking him. No, I am not, he loves being outside. Lies. You just don't want someone seeing you abandon a cat, and it's an obvious you are abandoning her. Cats hate being outside. What a bad human being you are, a monster. Like, do you think I'm stupid? Honestly, yes, you are calling my cat a girl when he's a what did you just say? She's a girl, give her to me. So Karen, you think you cut off me? Oh no, you are not ready. What the heck is wrong with you? I don't care what you think. Did you just disrespect your elders? I'm calling the cops. Sure, whatever, get out. What, this actual idiot, did she just try to scare me by fake calling the cops? You never taped your screen. Are you actually fake calling the cops? BM realized her plan didn't work, so she comes up to me, slaps me, grabs the leash, and tries to pick him up. Big mistake, my cat hates being picked up, so when she scoops him up he goes insane, he screams, and she scooped him up in such an awkward position he was in front of her face. He scratches her face and she screams and yells while running to her car. I'm calling animal control and the police. You should probably get your cat checked out at the vet if it's puking so much. Next, let's execute the Karen, but first tie her down and force her to watch cats being played with outside. Well guys, that's it for today. If you end up enjoying this video, please consider subscribing, and if you missed the last episode on the channel, I'm gonna link it right here. The story is about a woman who caused a scene in a restaurant and then called the police. Check this out if you haven't, and I'll see you in my next video.